Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we have another video, but it is another wrap-up / predicting books that's going to be read in July. And so if you don't know what this video is about, basically at the end of each month I'm going to go through the books that I've read in the month that just passed, and I'm going to give you just a brief overview, and then at the end I'll just predict, and this is very hand wavy because I'm not really sure if it'll succeed, but I'll just read I'll tell you what books I'll be reading in July. Okay, so let's go ahead, but before we start, don't forget, if you're new, subscribe, like the content, comment away what books you want to read in July and recommend some of them, because I might not have read them and I'm always looking for good recommendations. Before I start with the stats, there was actually one book that I finished in May, but I just finished after recording this video and therefore didn't include it, but so I'll include it in the wrap-up of June. But that means that I read a total of 4 books and 2 manga volumes, which isn't that much compared to last month. It's still pretty much the same, but at least they were bigger books, it's still something, right? It gave me a total of just over 2,200 pages. It's not the best, but it's still better than last month, and of course I'm just gonna keep pushing to read more, even if work is chaotic, even if life is chaotic, just gotta keep pushing to read a bit more, just for the fun of it. One good thing that happened to me from reading these books is that the scores I gave this month were actually all quite very good. There wasn't one single book with a score below 4. But okay, let's go and start with my ongoing reads. And to start, I am still reading Wheel of Time, of course, and the book I'm at the moment is Winter's Heart, which is the 9th volume out of 14. For the ones that don't know, this series is The Wheel of Time by Robert Jordan, towards the end also by Brandon Sanderson. This is the 9th, and this is Full Into the Slog, which is a portion of the series where a lot of the fans agree that it becomes quite slow. Luckily, I'm already past half. I'm actually past 75%, so I'm reading this really fast and probably will finish it in July as well and be able to read the next one. Of course, I'm always entertained with this book. I have a love-hate relationship in parts with this book in specific, but I'm still enjoying it. But because this one is one of my current reads, then that means that I finished The Path of Daggers, but I'll get to it soon enough. My other current read is Of Darkness and Light by Ryan Cahill, and I know I said that I was reading this book last month, and I am still reading this book, but I am fully trying to read it. But ebooks, for some reason, I just read them slower. I don't pick up my Kindle as often. I prefer to have a physical book or an audiobook, and therefore it kind of falls behind. But I'm also past 66 or 70%, something like that. So I'm getting towards the end, and I hope I finish this in July. And if you follow my shorts, you probably have seen that also I am reading Malice by John Gwynne. This is the first of 4 books in a series called The Bound and the Broken. And yeah, I know in the last wrap-up I predicted that I would have read this one in June. I started it, maybe I'll finish it. I'm past 50% as well. It seems like I'm past halfway in all these books. Hopefully I'll just finish them all together and suddenly I have 3 books read in 1 week. But yeah, so far I'm okay with it. I'm having some troubles with the amount of characters to learn, but that's always a problem with the first book in a series. Hopefully I attach enough with the characters that I want to continue reading the 2nd and 3rd and 4th books. But because of this, you'll know that this book won't show up anytime soon in the book reviews because I'm still reading, so it'll take a couple of weeks till it shows up. But it will show up. I am sure that I will make a book review for this. Okay, now with the ongoing reads out of the way, what did I finish in June exactly? Well, to start, I finished The House in the Cerulean Sea by TJ Klune. This was the one I finished in May actually instead of June. You've seen the book review already because it's been out. I really like this book. I thought it was this cozy fantasy, warm, fuzzy, that just gave me so much happiness reading it. And especially because I was reading between epic fantasy, so it was good. If you want to know a lot more detail about this book, then there's the thumbnail. You can just go and click on the card over there where you just go directly to the book review and then you can come back. Like I said, this book is cozy fantasy. It revolves around an orphanage with magical children. I don't want to reveal much so I don't spoil, and it's fun, funny, and fuzzy. Fun, funny, and fuzzy. That's a good, should have put that on the thumbnail. On Goodreads, this book has a score of 4.4, and my personal score was exactly the same. So me and the collective mind of Goodreads couldn't agree more on this. The book I finished after that was The Path of Daggers by Robert Jordan. Like I said, this is also a Wheel of Time book, the 8th book in the series, and it's also part of the slog, and there were problems with it. However, I actually ended up enjoying this book a lot by certain moments that happen across the book. I will be putting a full review of this book soon, eventually, on the channel, but I really enjoyed it. I think it's better than the previous one. I think it's better than the score on Goodreads, and I think the characters in general improved it. I think the plot also improved a bit, so there was just a combination of small things added that made the book much better. And it's funny because on Goodreads, this book has a score of 3.93. It's one of the lowest in the whole series. But for me, the score I gave was a 4.2 out of 5. Of course, if you want to know more details about the categories that I described, then just wait for the video to come out, hopefully next week, and then you can see into more detail. After that, I finished The Crimson Campaign by Brian McClellan. This is not the typical book cover that you see. You'll have the traditional paperback or hardback covers that you see. This is just the broken binding edition of it, and I really love this painting almost art, so I kind of like to display it. This is the second book of the trilogy called the Powder Mage Trilogy. I've read and reviewed the first book here on the channel. There's a thumbnail, a card, you know the drill. Just click if you're curious to know more about the series. I will be posting a review about this book too, eventually, but I gotta say I enjoyed it. It does not suffer from middle book syndrome. I think it's an improvement over the first one, so just good things to talk about this book too. I think some of the character weaknesses in the first book were solved in this one, and everything just improved slightly, and I cannot wait to read the third and final one. On Goodreads, this book had a score of 4.36 out of 5, and my score was actually 4.4 out of 5. So they were quite similar. I guess I'm thinking just a bit higher than that, than Goodreads, I mean. But yeah, just wait a bit longer, a couple of weeks, and this review should be out. And the last book was Equal Rights by Terry Pratchett. This is the first book of the Witches series, and I absolutely loved it. Terry Pratchett is always a great choice if you want to read something in this world that is fun and funny and light and just like a chill journey across the Discworld. I mean, I always go for Terry Pratchett when I want that kind of read, but I did not expect how much I would end up loving this book. Because I mean, the themes, the characters, the writing, all of it was so good in so many different shapes and dimensions, not only in terms of the writing itself, but the themes were fun, but also instructing. All of it was done perfectly. On Goodreads, this book has a score of 4.06, but my score was actually a 5-star out of 5. So for me, this book was really, really good, and of course I will be posting a review eventually, and you'll get to know why I liked it so much. Those were all the books I read in June. I also read 2 volumes of manga, and that was One Piece, volumes 35 and 36. And this is continuation of Water 7 arc, which these are actually volumes that are super important, super vital, and key moments in the whole arc. I absolutely love these 2 volumes. I was expecting to read a lot more volumes. I don't know if you saw the previous video, but I did say I was planning to finish the whole arc, and this is definitely not even close to finish the whole arc. But I gotta say, these volumes were just brilliant. I love reading them. They were so emotion heavy, and Usopp broke my heart several times, but I just loved it. So the scores I gave them were respectively 5 and 4.6. But okay, all of that was what I read in June. What am I predicting to read in July? What do I want to read? Well, an obvious one is if I finish Winter's Heart, which I'm expecting I will, then I will start reading the next book in the Wheel of Time series. And that is The Crossroads of Twilight by Robert Jordan. This is the 10th book, getting very, very close to the end, and it's always such a bittersweet feeling because I do want to see the epicness of the last books, but at the same time it's like I don't want it to finish. It's always that battle. But of course, I'm always keen to read more Will of. And then, like I said last video, if I finish Of Darkness and Light, which I really hope I do, I will be reading The Dragon of Jin Sayeng by K.S. Viloso. And yeah, I know I've been postponing this one a lot, and I really have to push through it and give it a try. Hopefully it will be better than the previous 2, and it will end the trilogy in a blast. Let's just hope so. That's what I hope for. And once I finish Malice, I will jump back into science fiction because it's been quite a while since I read any science fiction, and I will be reading The Faded Sky by Mary Robinette Kowal. This is the second book of a trilogy called The Lady Astronaut Universe, if I'm not mistaken. The first one was called The Calculating Stars. This one, The Faded Sky, is the second one. I've read the first book. It was good-ish. So I'm curious to see where the trilogy goes and how it develops. But yeah, there's not much to talk about this book. After that, my plan is to read Turning Darkness into Light by Marie Brennan. This is the sixth and last book of the series called The Lady Trent Memoirs of Lady Trent, something like that. The first book is very famous. It's called A Natural History of Dragons. It has amazing covers. All the series, like every single book in the series, has amazing covers and amazing illustrations inside. I'm always super keen to read these books because they're fun, but at the same time, I think the author was really good at perceiving the biology and the natural history of dragons if they existed. So that was really smart, and I'm keen to finish this series. And of course, I will try and be eager and try to push myself, and hopefully I'll be able to finish all these books and then read Skyward by Brandon Sanderson, which is another sci-fi book. This is the first book in the Skyward series that has been finished, and so I'm now delving into it. This is not Cosmere, so nothing Cosmere related, but I kind of want to explore non-Cosmere stuff from Brandon Sanderson. And I'm quite curious because it has gotten mixed reviews, so let's see if I enjoy or if I'm on the group that does not enjoy this book. And of course, amongst all these, I'll try to read some manga volumes if I can. Hopefully, I'll be able to finish Water 7, but don't quote me on that because as we saw, that might not end up to be true. But yeah, let's hope so. But now I want to hear from you. Which one of these books are you most excited to hear about? What is your July reading list? Comment down below. Tell me more about what you plan to read. And for the new people, welcome. Don't forget to subscribe, like the content, and I'll be seeing you on Thursdays and Sundays, okay? Adeus.